Hello all, in this video we will see the Cook-Levin theorem. The statement of the theorem is SAT is NP complete and 3 SAT is NP complete. So both this satisfiability problem and 3 satisfiability problem. Satisfiability problem is actually Boolean satisfiability problem, that is given a Boolean formula like A or B, A and B, something like this. Any Boolean formula, whether it is satisfiable or not. Checking whether given Boolean formula is satisfiable or not. That is SAT problem. 3 SAT, we have seen 2 satisfiability in one of our previous videos. So SAT essentially is given Boolean formula is satisfiable or not. 3 SAT is the given Boolean formula will be in 3 CNF format. That is, each clause will have exactly 3 literals. And now another clause, which all the clauses will be containing exactly 3 literals. 2 satisfiability, as we have seen in the previous video, speaks about literal clauses having exactly 2 literals. So 3 SAT is clauses having exactly 3 literals. So if you haven't watched that video, please do watch it because that make things easy. Yeah. So we have to prove that SAT and 3 SAT are NP complete. That is what the statement of Cook-Levin theorem is. So for some problem to be NP complete, there are 2 conditions. First one is for NP completeness, the 2 conditions are, first one is that it should be NP. Second one is that it should be NP hard. These are the 2 conditions. So we will address them one by one. Okay. We will initially prove that SAT is NP complete and then we will narrow it down to 3 SAT. Okay. So SAT is, as I told, a satisfiability problem. To prove that it is NP complete, that should be NP first and then NP hard. So we will address the first criterion, that is, it is NP. NP means it should have it should be able to solve in non-polynomial time and verify in polynomial time. Verification in polynomial time. So these are the conditions for NP problems. See, for a satisfiability problem, for example, if a problem is like this P or Q or R, it contains three literals and we need to check whether this can be satisfied or not. So to check whether a formula is satisfiable or not, a Boolean formula is satisfiable or not, you should be giving you should be trying with, in the worst case you have to try with all the possible assignments for the variables. If at least one of the assignments give a 1 or true in the output, that formula is said to be satisfiable. For example, if it is PQR, you can give 1 to all the, you can give 1 to all the 3 variables and check whether it is satisfiable. In the equation contains 3 variables. This may not be the equation formula, it can be longer. So basically what you do is you will assign 1 to P, 1 to Q and 1 to R. Check whether the formula is satisfiable. If it is not, I am not talking about this particular formula, you know this will be satisfied if you are giving P, Q or R. At least any one of them, if you are assigning 1, this formula will be satisfiable. But in general, if 1, 1, 1 doesn't work, you try with 1, 1, 0. If that doesn't work, you try with 1, 0, 1. If that doesn't work, you try with 1, 0, 0. If that doesn't work, you try with 0, 0, 0. If that doesn't work, 0, 0, 1. If that doesn't work, 0, 1, 0 or 0, 1, 1. You have to try all these different possibilities. Now you got 8 different combinations. Now more combinations are possible, right? That means you got 8 combinations here. That is 8 different way of assignments. That is essentially 2 raised to 3. That is, if there are n variable, you can have 2 raised to n assignments for the variables in the formula to check whether the formula is satisfiable or not in worst case, not in the best case. Yeah. So 2 raised to n assignments are to be made for the variables in the formula to check whether the formula is satisfiable or not in the worst case. So the solution time, the time taken to solve the formula is 2 raised to n. But once a solution is obtained, you can easily verify that Because if there is a formula like A or negation A, and somebody says that if you are assigning 1 to A, you can get the output 1. I can easily verify that by simply substituting the variables with the values given. I can easily verify that. So verification can be done in polynomial time. So that is what the conditions for an NP problem that should be. That is for solving it may take a non-polynomial amount of time, that is 2 raised to n is here the complexity for solving, and verification should be completed in polynomial time. So here verification can be done in polynomial time, because once a truth assignments for the individual variables are given, you can simply substitute that into the variables in a formula and check whether the formula is satisfied or not. That doesn't take much time. So that can be done in polynomial time. So this condition is met. So SAT is actually NP. Now the second thing is SAT is NP hard. That is the second criterion for it to be NP complete. For NP hard, for example, if SAT is NP hard, what the condition is, all the problems L element of NP should be reduced to SAT in polynomial time. That is, all the problems L element of the class NP should be reduced to SAT in polynomial time. That is the condition for NP completeness. That is, a language L dash is said to be NP complete if all the languages L element of NP should be able to reduce. We should be able to reduce all the languages L element of NP to L dash. Then L dash is said to be NP hard. So similarly, if all the problems L element of NP are reducible to SAT in polynomial time, we can say that SAT is NP complete. Now checking, the list of NP complete problems, that list includes thousands of problems. So this is literally not possible to take each and every problem and check whether that can be reduced to SAT. No, that is not possible. At least in the framework of a proof, that is not possible. So what we can do is, that is, for some SAT to be called as NP hard, all the problems element of class NP should be able to reduce to SAT. So we can't check for each and every problem in the class NP, because that class contains thousands of problems. So what we can do is, we can take another assumption, that is not an assumption, we can take another fact. See, for every problem which is element of the class NP, we can have a non-deterministic Turing machine. That is, we can design a non-deterministic Turing machine for every problem that is element of the class NP. So reducing all the problems into SAT, that particular question reduces to converting or reducing a non-deterministic Turing machine into SAT. That is, our aim is to reduce a non-deterministic Turing machine into SAT in polynomial time, because this non-deterministic Turing machine can represent any problem that is element of class NP. So the non-deterministic Turing machine, we can generalize all the problems in class NP by a non-deterministic Turing machine. So our goal has been so concise now. What we need is, we need to convert and reduce an NDT, non-deterministic Turing machine, into SAT. So that can be done easily. So see, SAT contains variables, because SAT deals with formulas. Formulas contains variables, but Turing machine has a totally different format. So what we need to do here is, we need to convert the Turing machine. We need to somehow represent a Turing machine into equation format, into the format of a formula. So for that, we will convert a Turing machine into 3 different variables, so powerful that those 3 variables can represent anything a Turing machine need to represent. The first variable that we will use is QT. This states that the Turing machine is at the state small q at the time t. So this gives information regarding the current state of the Turing machine. Okay, current state, precisely. Current state of the Turing machine. Okay, that is the current state of the Turing machine at time t. That is this variable. The second variable that we need to include is Hij T. See, when we speak about non-deterministic Turing machine in general, that usually represent a multi-tape Turing machine. Actually, single-tape Turing machine is a subclass of multi-tape Turing machine. So, when we talk about in general, we will speak of a single-tape Turing machine. So, now Hij, this variable indicate the current tape. It says that the current tape, not the current tape, the tape I, the particular tape I is at cell J at time t. So this indicate the current tape and current cell. So this give information regarding current tape and current cell. So Hij in T indicates it says that the tape I is at position J at time t. So you have got information regarding the not the current tape, it's a particular tape and current cell. Okay. Now the third variable that we are introducing is Tijst. This says that the tape I in the cell J contains the symbol S. So this gives you information regarding the current symbol. So QT gives you information regarding current state at the time t. Hij gives you information regarding the tape and the cell, current cell at time t. Tijs gives you information regarding the current symbol, which is at tape I cell J at time t. So all this information that you know are represented by these three variables. Now we need to draft some conditions also so that this can be easily converted to formulas. So the conditions are, the first condition is the Turing machine will be at one state at any time. Okay, that is the first condition we are coining in so that we can formulate the equations easily. So the first condition is the Turing machine will be at a single state at any time. Single state at a time. Okay. For example, if the Turing machine is at state Q at the time t, that implies that the Turing machine cannot be at any other state Q dash at time t. So that is the first condition, and the second condition is, see, this is of the format P implies Q. You can even rewrite it as negation P O Q, that is negation Q Q T or negation Q Q dash T. This is P implies Q. P implies Q is equivalent to negation P or Q. So you can also write it like that. Second condition is that the Turing machine will be in a single cell at any time, single cell at a time. That is, if the Turing machine is at the cell Hij at a time, it cannot be in any other cell J dash at the time t. Or equivalently, this is of the form P implies Q, you can convert it as negation Hij or negation Hij dash t. Now the third condition is that the Turing machine can encounter only a single symbol at any time. Single symbol, that is the next condition. So Tijs, if S is the symbol at any time, it cannot have any other symbol S dash. Okay, so equivalently it can be written as negation Tijs T or negation Tijs dash T. Okay, so these are the three conditions that we are bringing so as to formulate the equations well. That is, a single Turing machine will be at a single state at any time. That is, if the Turing machine is at state q at time t, it cannot be. That is where this negation here. It cannot be at the state q dash at any time. So now this is in the form of p implies q. So expansion for p implies q is negation p over q. That is the equivalent expansion. Now in a single cell at any time, that is if it is at hij at a time, it cannot be at hij dash t at the same time, and a single symbol at a time. That is, if it is witnessing the symbol t, it cannot encounter the symbol s dash. Okay, so these are the three conditions we have. Now we will see how we can write the transition functions of Turing machine and in the form of equations. For example, if we are saying that the Turing machine is at the state 0 at this time being, so 0 is the current state, and it is at the cell j of tape 1. So tape 1 cell j, cell some 6, and it is seeing the symbol, if it is seeing the symbol b, it moves to some state 2. Okay, if this is the transition that we want to represent, that is, the current state is state 0, current tape is tape 1, current cell is cell 6, current symbol is b, and it wants to move. If this is a combination or in this configuration, it needs to move to state 2. So this can be represented as state 0, that is represented by q0t. Now tape 1 can be tape 1 cell 6, it can be represented by h16 at time t. Now this symbol b, so t tape 1 cell 6, and this symbol is b at time t. So this implies that if a configuration is this implies that the new state is q2 at t plus 1. So because if the current time is t, next time is t plus 1, that's it. So this is how we represent transitions. That is, I repeat, if the current state is 0 and the current tape is 1 and the current cell is 6 and the current symbol is b, the Turing machine will move on to the state 2 in the next second. This is how we write this. Okay, now if we are getting rid of this implication sign, we can, this is actually in the form p implies q. So you can write it as negation q0t. When you apply negation and the front, and will become or. Now negation h16t. Now negation t16b. Then or q2 t plus 1. See, this is obtained by converting this formula into negation POQ format. Okay, so this is what we get. So see, this is in the form of conjunctive normal form, that is, each clause is separated by and. So we have a single clause here, that is, the clauses of or in between and are separated by and. So this is actually a SAT formula. So we could prove that a Turing machine can be represented. For example, the other transitions can be appended to this by putting an and writing the next transition. So all the transitions of a Turing machine can be represented by putting ands. So the next transition can be appended to this by putting an and write down the next clause like this. So we could see that we can reduce a Turing machine, non-deterministic Turing machine, into a SAT formula. So we have proved that SAT is NP complete. Yeah. Now and the next thing is we reduced it. Now the next thing is the reduction should be done in polynomial time. See, there can be lots of clauses, but we still have finite number of states. Okay, so this can still be done in polynomial time. So this reduction can be achieved in polynomial time. Now we have proved that we can convert a non-deterministic Turing machine into SAT. Now we want to prove that a non-deterministic Turing machine, because we reduced the Turing machine into equations of the form conjunctive normal form. Okay. Now what we need to prove is the second part of Cook's-Levin's theorem is that an NDTM can be reduced to 3 SAT, or 3 SAT is NP complete also. So 3 SAT should also in NDTM, a non-deterministic Turing machine, should also be reduced to 3 SAT. See, if we can reduce it to SAT, we can easily convert the SAT into a 3 SAT to complete the proof. That is, this is the SAT formula. I mean conjunctive normal form formula. So any conjunctive normal form formula can be converted into 3CNF format. That is, any CNF formula can be converted to 3CNF. There is an algorithm. So in this case, I'll tell you how you can do this. So this actually contains 4 clauses, right? But in 3CNF, you can have a maximum of 3 clauses. So we will split this 3 clauses into this one clause into 2 different clause. So negation Q0T or negation H16T and negation T16B. All this goes into the first clause because up to 3 clauses, I mean exactly 3 clauses are allowed in 3CNF. So, and now the remaining literal here is Q2T plus 1. That is the only literal remaining. Now again we need to, I mean in 3CNF every clause should have exactly 3 literals. So without changing the meaning of this, I am adding a new literal P and at the same time negation T, so that there is no change to the equation. There is no change in the equation to the meaning of this formula. So any CNF formula can be converted into 3CNF format using the given algorithm. So this is an example. That is how I can convert this 4 literal clause into 2 different clauses containing exactly 3 literals. We can always do transitions like this. For example, if we have just one clause like Q0T, even then you can convert it into 3CNF by adding P and negation P without making any change to the meaning of the formula. So if SAT is NP complete, 3 SAT is definitely NP complete because we can reduce SAT to 3 SAT by converting CNF formula given into 3CNF formula by using the algorithm. So that is the end of the proof. That is, we have also proved that SAT is NP hard because we could convert a non-deterministic Turing machine which can represent every problem in the class NP. We have reduced it into SAT problem. So SAT is NP hard. SAT is NP, SAT is NP hard. So SAT is definitely NP complete also. So that is the proof for Cook-Levin theorem. Hope you got it. Thank you.